Thanks and welcome back to another one, you guys. If you are new to the channel, my name is Andrew with Mercedes-Benz of Hagerstown in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on our inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we're in the brand new 2025 Mercedes-Benz AMG C43 because there is more power for 2025. You get new tech and new safety as well. And to be quite honest, this is just a ton of fun from Germany. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there's essentially two different configurations for the 2025 C43. MSRP is going to start at $62,500, but then you got the Pinnacle trim that's going to start at $66,450. But regardless, power plant is going to be the same. Powering the Beast is a handcrafted 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a mild hybrid system, which puts out 416 horsepower at around 6,700 RPM. In case you were curious, that is 14 more horsepower than the previous model year, so a little bit of bump there. 369 pound-feet of torque coming in at 5,000 RPM. That power is going to be sent to all 4 wheels through a 9-speed automatic with aluminum paddle shifters. I'll have you know, we'll test those out here in a little bit, but 0 to 60 time according to Car and Driver come in at 3.9 seconds. Top speed, get this, 165 miles per hour. That's pretty darn impressive, with MPG numbers coming in at 19 in the city, 27 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in the C43, did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. And so typically that is labeled Dynamic Select. However, since we're in an AMG, it is just simply labeled AMG. And that is one way to go ahead and adjust that. The other way is simply the dial located on the steering wheel, which is probably what most people are going to use, quite honestly. I should have said that one first, but drive modes are going to include Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, Slippery, and Individual, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle responses, suspension settings, the exhaust note, quite substantially, I'll have you know, steering feel, and also the Eco Start Stop system as well. So quite a bit there. But now that we got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the paddle shifters and acceleration here to the test. I want to see how quickly the paddle shifters are going to react for us, and of course, let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, so we are in Sport Plus driving mode. We found her straight away, just waiting for the green light. Here we go. What the deuce, man, that was fun. All right, did you guys hear those pops when I shifted gears? By the way, paddle shifters are lightning quick, definitely no issues there. Other really nice thing about the paddle shifters is that they are aluminum. A lot of Mercedes-Benz that are not AMG use the black plastic paddle shifters, so I'm a huge fan of the feel of the paddle shifters as well. Again, lightning quick, definitely no issues with that. Very quick acceleration, of course, as expected as well. And there was no slipping whatsoever because you got the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. I feel like way back in the day, I drove a rear-wheel drive AMG C class, and of course, it's now all 4MATIC all-wheel drive, which is amazing because there's no slipping there. So wonderful acceleration, wonderful paddle shifters, but to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so it continues to be really, really good here, by the way. Spoiler alert, 14.6-inch perforated front discs with 4-piston front calipers with the AMG logo. You gotta love that. In the back, 12.6-inch solid rear disc. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at an insane 103 feet. That is so ridiculously nice. As far as the braking feel goes, it's extremely firm, definitely brings you to quite a nice stop, and we're still at that Sport Plus driving mode. I got to take it out of that. We're just going to keep on going here, but plenty of braking power there, extremely firm braking feel. Now 103-foot number, that's like one of the best. Typically in sports sedans, you get in the 1-teen, so 103 feet, that is way overkill, and that's a good thing. But anyways, then touching on suspension and handling, 4-wheel independent suspension, of course, comes standard. You also, though, get an active rear steering axle, which allows the rear wheels to steer up to 2.5 degrees, and that's up to 37 miles per hour. That's something I first saw in the S-Class, and that is pretty stinking cool because I wouldn't have expected to find it on this, so I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. And then in addition to to that, you also get an adaptive damping suspension, and that is what I personally always look for, because I can definitely tell the difference if you have one versus if you don't have one. So what that does is it monitors each shock absorber individually, not only adjusting to the road imperfections, giving you a smoother ride, but it also tightens up that suspension during heavy cornering, giving you better handling as well. That's definitely one you need in a sports sedan like the C43, because that gives you the best of both worlds. So having said that, let me go ahead and just put it back into Sport Plus driving mode here. As far as ride quality goes, it's been fine. I mean, you do tend to feel a little bit more of the road in a car like this, but because of that adaptive damping suspension, it's not as bad as it otherwise would be if you didn't have that. As far as steering feel goes, it's brilliant. Definitely on the heavier side of things. I absolutely love it. That is a heck of a lot of fun. As far as cabin noise goes, we're going 60 miles per hour right now with it in Sport Plus driving mode, because that Sport Plus driving mode, that opens the exhaust valves, and that just gives you a brilliant exhaust note. We'll be doing that exhaust clip a little bit later in the video, but I love it. So if you didn't want that exhaust note all the time, you could just simply put it back in comfort driving mode and you won't have it. But I think it's a pretty serene cabin. Having said that, I personally love the exhaust notes. I would probably leave it there. But in addition to that, there is an acoustic laminated glass kind of option if you wanted that. That laminates the front windshield and the front door glass, and that goes for $150 if you wanted to go that route. But then touching on rear visibility, because of the shape of this thing, you definitely do not have any issues with rear visibility. And then touching on forward visibility a little bit, rain sensing windshield wipers do come standard on the C43. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on the windshield wipers for you, kind of like automatic headlights. And then in addition to that, you also have a head-up display available that is going to come with the Pinnacle trim that we don't have with us here today, unfortunately, but that's going to project your speed limit and safety features up onto your windshield, better helping you keep your eyes on the road so you can better enjoy the drive in this thing. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Mercedes-Benz AMG C43. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Mercedes-Benz AMG C43, finished in selenite gray metallic, which is a $750 paint option in case you were curious. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the C43 is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter W, indicating that the C43 is built and assembled in Germany, as it should be. So starting up front on this one, starting with the front grille, because this is one of the most unique parts about the C43. It's an AMG specific front grille with the vertical bars, which is drawn from the AMG GT3 race car. And of course, you got the AMG badging within that front grille as well. But again, the front grille is inspired by an AMG race car. That is pretty stinking cool. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. You get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. And in case you were curious about the colors, going back to the colors real quick, there's black and polar white being the two free colors available on the C43. All the other colors are going to range from $750, like we have today, all the way up to $3,250, in case you wanted one of the rare ones, I suppose. But got front air curtains to the bottom corners then as well. But that pretty much rounds out the front end of this one. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so but now since we are around to the side of the C43 here, chrome window surrounds will come standard. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals. And then if you want that AMG logo projected onto the ground, which comes out of the bottom portion of those side mirrors, that goes for $310 if you wanted that particular option. Also, you have that turbo electrified badging found on the front fenders, in case you're curious what that says. But then taking a look at the wheel setup, 18-inch 10-spoke alloys do come standard on the C43. However, there are plenty of 19-inch and 20-inch wheel designs available to really make this one your own if you wanted to. But very nice looking side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, and so now since we are around to the back of this one thing I always like to start out with really every Mercedes-Benz these days is there is no antenna. There's no shark fin antenna mounted on the roof or anything like that. It is a very clean look, which I am a big fan of. But then moving on down, taking a look at the rear spoiler, that is a body colored rear lip spoiler. It does come standard. Get LED taillights coming standard as well. Also LED license plate lighting. I don't like to overlook that. You got this nice gloss black rear diffuser all the way to the bottom there. I think that looks dang good. And then to the sides, those exhaust outlets are integrated into the rear bumper. I love that look. I've always said that. Best look in my opinion, but dual exhaust outlets with quad chrome tips. Again, it's an active valve exhaust, so when you put it in that Sport Plus driving mode, it is going to open up those valves, making for a much better sound. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the C43, when it comes to opening that rear trunk there is a button on the key fob. There is a rubberized button on the trunk itself then as well, but it is a power trunk, which is pretty stinking cool. So there's a button on the trunk to actually close it then automatically as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 11.6 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 40-20-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down quite flat for a bunch of extra space then if you needed it. There were actually some buttons found in the cargo area to go ahead and fold down those rear seats, which made that super convenient back there. But there is LED cargo lighting back there. You actually have grocery bag hooks on both sides in the cargo area. That's typically an SUV feature, so big fan of that. A little bit of netted storage in the back, kind of driver's side cargo area there, so I like that as well. Really nice kind of carpeted floor to it, and then when you lift up underneath of that floor, you actually do have in-floor storage, which again is an SUV feature that we're finding in the C43 here, so pretty stinking cool there. Then making our way up to the rear legroom, I've been even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had sitting behind my own driving position here, so actually worked out for me. I didn't have any issues there. There is a rear center armrest with cup holders and a phone holder. So the way that works is when you press it once, it's just going to give you the phone holder, but if you press it in slightly and then let it come back out, that's how you're going to go ahead and get the cup holders. So it's a little tricky there, a little bit different, but it is a thing. You can get those back there. Rear ventilation does come standard. You got some nice coat hooks on both sides as well, and a little bit of storage underneath of that rear ventilation as well. But the one thing I didn't see is rear charging ports. So let me know in the comments if you know where they're located, because I did not see any. But then making our way up to the front seats, power adjustable front seats with 4-way power lumbar does come standard. Got memory settings for 3 different drivers and 3 different passengers. That's for the passenger as well. So I'm always a big fan of that with Mercedes. Heated and ventilated front seats. As far as the finishes go, it's going to be an MB Text microfiber combination that comes standard. However, you can get full leather seats that goes for $1,620, and then there's AMG Performance seats that goes for $2,500. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was okay. But you know what's really funny? I found myself muttering something to myself during my little drive, and I said, "Hey Mercedes, my back hurts."
I'm sorry, this vehicle does not have any massage functions.
I thought that was kind of funny. It literally picked up on it while I was having a conversation with myself, and yeah, you got to stop eavesdropping on me. Anyway, seating was plenty fine. Not the very most comfortable seats, but they're not bad either. It's basically right what I expected there. But then going ahead and making our way to the steering wheel here, it is tilt and telescoping. It's going to be wrapped in a perforated leather. It's got a flat bottom to it. You got the AMG logo at the bottom as well. If you wanted a Napa leather / microfiber combination, that goes for $500. If you wanted a carbon fiber and microfiber combination steering wheel, that goes for $900. Heated steering wheel goes for $250. So plenty of options here is what I'm trying to get at, but I really did like the steering wheel. It was plenty fine for me. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got your AMG lettering on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, and that button to pop the power trunk there. And by the way, the lock button, that's going to be your Mercedes logo at the very top there. But if you wanted a remote start, that can be had with the Mercedes Me mobile app. You just got to download that, and it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located kind of just to the left of that infotainment screen. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauge cluster, it is a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, and it's pretty fancy. So if you press the home button on the left side of the steering wheel, that's going to give you a bunch of different loadouts, and Mercedes-Benz does this better than anybody. There's a super sport loadout, there's a sport loadout, there's your classic view navigation setup up there. they just have so many different loadouts and looks, so it really allows you to customize it. I like the Super Sport because it's kind of a 3D look to it, so that's pretty stinking cool. But of course, it tells you things like how many miles you have left until you hit empty, outside temperature, digital speedometer readout, so pretty much everything you could possibly want up there. But then making our way to overall interior quality, there's going to be a power sunroof that comes standard. If you wanted a panorama roof, that goes for $1,000. That is an option. LED interior lighting coming standard. You get a frameless rear view mirror with up to 3 different garage doors found in the bottom portion of that. That's pretty cool. MB Tech's upper dash trim does come standard with red contrast stitching. I like that. AMG illuminated door sills as well coming standard. You get dual zone climate control, 64 colors of ambient lighting. Typical Mercedes fashion there. They do ambient lighting wonderful. And actually with the Pinnacle trim, you get enhanced ambient lighting, so even brighter there. You get a wireless phone charger just in front of the cup holders there. Of course, your cup holders. Then within the center armrest, there's a decent amount of space in there. You got a USB charging port actually in there as well. But I like the carbon fiber trim as well, just above the passenger side glove box and surrounding the engine start button. That was pretty stinking cool to find. I like the fighter jet style air vents. They always look good. And like I said, this is a Mercedes-Benz. Everything is going to be very high end and the finishes are absolutely wonderful. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. So what you guys are looking at is an 11.9 inch color touchscreen display. And this is the start of the 3rd generation MBUX infotainment system. So you get Bluetooth and audio streaming, of course, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You get a factory navigation system. You can check out your climate control settings. You guys can see that. Of course, you can check out your ambient lighting settings up there as well. There's some AMG performance statistics. I always like seeing that. So you can check your suspension. It says horsepower and torque at any given time. Boost pressure, I like that as well. And a lot of really cool graphics, like this nice clock graphic up here too. So yeah, this is working for me. I'm a big fan. And of course, you can check out your radio information up there as well. And so when it comes to the sound systems, there are 2 of them. A 5-speaker sound system does come standard. That's the one that we have with us here today. But then there is a 15-speaker Burmester 3D sound system. That comes with the Pinnacle trim. So that's how you're going to go ahead and get that. But like I said, we do have the 5-speaker sound system with us here today. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. All right, a lot louder than I expected actually, and a good bit of bass as well. So I actually don't have any issues with that sound system. That was pretty darn good. And it's not going to be a 15-speaker sound system, but it's there and it's available if you wanted it. But last thing I wanted to mention you guys on the infotainment screen at least is when you do put the C43 in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. You also get that surround view monitor coming standard there to the left as well, giving you that bird's eye view, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so to start, this one is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest rating given by IIHS. So that pretty much says it all right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get a driver's knee airbag up front as well, and also that new front center airbag that I was mentioning at the beginning of the video. That's nice. Then in the back you got latch, aka lower anchors to tether your children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, attention assist, active brake assist, adaptive braking technology, emergency call service, blind spot assist with exit warning, Parktronic with active parking assist. That one is wild. The car will park itself for you. It's nuts. But then you got the driver assistance package, and that goes for $1,950, and that has some really advanced stuff, but then it also has a lot of the kind of basic stuff as well. So like traffic sign assist, lane keep assist, lane change assist, emergency stop assist, the stuff that comes standard on a Corolla. But there is some really cool stuff in there as well. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the C43, let me start with the best part, the brilliant driving dynamics. This thing is incredibly quick. The paddle shifters are very high quality, very quick reacting. The braking is absolutely insane, which makes sense with the perforated front discs and the 4-piston front calipers. You also have classic AMG specific styling, which I am a big fan of, specifically that front grille. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow Mercedes-Benz of Hagerstown on social media somewhere on the screen. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews and all of our fun YouTube shorts we put on our channel then as well. We do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and we will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.